Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, November 7th. It is 6:21 right now. We got market opening up in about 9 minutes. Um, we got a few moments for people to make their way in, and then we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. Hey, Saren, morning. All right, cool. So, all right, guys, before we get started, I got to put out this disclaimer. So, basically, quick reminder, futures trading involves substantial risk of loss and isn't suitable for all investors. You can lose more than your initial investment, and nothing you see here should be seen as financial advice or solicitation to participate in any trading program. Everything I'm doing today is educational and for informational purposes only. I'm walking through my own analysis, my own trades. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results, and if I reference any back test or hypothetical performance, um, understand that those results have limitations and don't reflect actual trading. Cody Kite Capital LLC is registered with the CFTC as a commodity trading advisor and a member of the National Futures Association. I may hold positions in the market as discussed, and my views can change at any time based on the market conditions. So, all right, we're good to go. Take this off right here. But again, if you guys have any questions, regarding that, feel free to let me know. I just have to do that disclaimer every morning because, I mean, I guess I'm registered as a professional trader now, so it's necessary. All right, so I have the trades over here set up for today. These are the ones I plan on taking. First one's at 6:29 pre-market. One big thing that I'm going to be testing today is going to be StoneX. So I have uh I have StoneX already set up on my computer. I've been using it since last night. I've been kind of playing around with it. This is what StoneX looks like. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a regular platform. There's nothing special here. The special thing behind StoneX is the execution and the service and the customer service and all that stuff, right? So this is what StoneX looks like. It's basic chart pretty much. What I'm going to be doing is I'll be taking some, I guess, practice entries to see how it works, during real market conditions, where market's actually moving pretty quickly. So I already have profits here. I've been trading this from last night, so I made about 1,305 for the day so far. It's just trading Asia sessions, trying to figure out what all the buttons do and stuff like that. So I just realized, damn, I just said all that and I didn't share my screen. Oh man. All right. So let me see. Damn, I just deleted that thing too. All right, here's the disclaimer real quick, guys. I just realized I didn't have that up. Saren said, Sean. Yeah. Thanks, Karen. Everybody. Well, I already made the disclaimer, so the disclaimer is not a big deal. Here's a disclaimer again in front of you guys. Basically, this disclaimer just shows you that it's a disclosure that, trading is risky, basically. If you guys want to re-listen to that, you guys can replay the replay later. But for the most part, we are good to go. So disclaimer's been up. You guys see the disclaimer. I'm gonna take this off the chart. Um, and what I was saying is, so I'll be testing out the StoneX platform today, guys. I've already been testing it out, so I already know what everything does. There's a couple of th cool things with StoneX. This is what the StoneX platform looks like. Again, it's just a normal trading platform. The real cool thing behind StoneX is really the execution and the order types. So they have these order types called parked orders, which is pretty cool. I just got to figure out because the problem with the parked orders is when I do set them up. Like I can set it up to take it exactly at market open. Only problem is that it doesn't set up the TP stop loss. Like for some reason, I don't know if anybody else has used StoneX before, but like I could do bracket orders with the TP stop loss, but I can't do parked orders. I'm trying to figure out how can I do both. Um, Obviously, this isn't the time to kind of play around with it, of course, because the market's so volatile. But yeah, I'll be kind of just playing around with this and figuring out like how everything works and whatnot. But we'll I'll just take some random trades. Like I'll take the trades here, the breakout or whatever. Or actually, I won't take the breakout. I'll wait for the next one. but I'm just kind of curious to see how it actually, like if there's any slippage or any of that stuff um, when taking trades here. So I'll be testing this out for, I guess, maybe today, maybe a couple days next week, and then we'll start the transition over to StoneX. Pretty excited. I mean, it's been pretty good so far. As you guys can see, the profits here on my StoneX they've been pretty solid. I took a couple trades, just tester trades. I made about 1,305. Execution was pretty good last night. Not much slippage at all. Pretty spot on with all my entries, and everything kind of just worked out as it should. So, all right. We will here. I could probably I'll test the breakout on open. I was kind of curious to see how it ends up working. You know what? I'm not gonna take. I don't want to take anything that's like dumb. So actually, I'm not gonna take the breakout on open because I don't want to screw up my settings because I got to change the TP stop loss and whatnot for that. It's not going to be the typical 40-20. But anyways, if you guys want to take the breakout on open, it's going to be against momentum. It has a weighted probability of 74.34%. Overall, 73.68, pretty much about the same. Buys have 72.73% probability, and the sells have a probability of 75%. It won two out of the three recent entries on Friday, so that's going to be the numbers for the breakout on open. It's going to be it doesn't matter which direction you take it. And I know I have sell here, but they're exactly the same. They're pretty much the same, you know. So whether it's for a buy or for a sell, it's supposed to be against momentum if you guys are looking to take this trade here. So we got market opening up shortly in about 2 minutes. And we will see what happens here in a few. So, all right, we have news at 7 o'clock. That's pretty much it for the day, I believe. We have Michigan consumer sentiment. Everything else was canceled for today. No NFP. All right, guys, we got market opening up shortly in a few moments. We got 50 seconds until market open. If you guys want to take this trade, it's going to be a sell for the breakout on open. If you guys want to take it, there's different TP stop losses you can use. You can use a 50-50. You can use a 40-80. 80. It's up to you. Ideally, of course, use what works best for you. If you guys want to have a bigger TP stop loss, use that 50-50. If you want a better risk to reward, use the 40-80. So, all right, guys, we got market opening up in about 30 seconds. Morning, Ryan. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Maria. Morning, everybody. So we are good to go. I'm not in this position. I'm just following it for you guys. Like I said, the breakout on open is very, very tricky. It's not a trade that I typically like to ever take. So, yeah, we'll see. We will see here. All right, guys, it's running right now. It's on its way down, full TP right there for the breakout if you guys took that. So breakout full TP for 50 points. Looks like some of you guys there caught it. Looks like the 80 is going to get hit too. There you go. 80 got hit right there. So if you guys took the breakout right there, it doesn't matter which TP stop loss you used, 80, 40, 50, whatever it may be, full TP right there for the breakout on open. Looks like Smith got it for 80 points. Nice work, Smith. So, I mean, it has a pretty high percentage probability. It's just the volatility is it's just a little too crazy for me. I can't take it on the hedge fund accounts. It's there's gonna be a lot of slippage on that trade, of course. So nice work, guys, on catching that right there. Next entry is going to be at 632. It's going to be with momentum. It has a weighted probability of 66.58, overall probability of 63.16, buy probability of 55.56, and the sell probability of 70%. It went one out of the three recent Fridays, and the direction for that trade is going to be for a sell. So if you guys are looking to take this trade at 632, it's going to come up pretty shortly. The problem with this entry here, if you guys do decide to take it, is the obvious reason right here. Look at this huge drop. It's going to be it's going to be a tricky entry, of course, right? Because this is overextended. Price might have to retrace back a little bit. If you guys want to take it, feel free to take it. If you guys want to sit out on it, feel free to sit out on it. It's up to you guys. I'm probably going to sit out on it as much as I'd like to take the trade there. I think it's a bit of a risky trade because of the overextension right here. So the sell's going to come up. It's going to be about a minute till it comes up right there. Like I was saying, I think I should be taking these trades on. Yeah, whatever. I'll leave that alone for now. So I'll kind of see how the trade comes up. If it does come up, I'll probably take a tester trade on. I'll take a tester trade on the StoneX platform. So it's supposed to be a sell entry right here. Let's see. So it's supposed to be a sell entry. I don't like how this candle here is pushing up. Obviously, I'm not going to mess with it. I'll see how this candle here closes. So we got about 30 seconds right here. I'm looking at the timer above. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a sell entry. I don't like how the momentum's pushing up right here, though. I'm just testing trades on the demo account. I'm obviously not going to trade on my real one yet. Candle's about to close in about 4 seconds. I'm not going to take this one. Momentum's too high on the buy side. It's probably going to play out, but I'm not going to take it. All right, so the trade's currently running right now. Yeah, that candle was just a little too strong. And it full TP right there, 40 points. If you guys caught that, nice work. If you guys didn't catch it, completely fine. Next entry is going to be at 639. This one has a higher probability, so I'm more inclined to take this one here versus the 632. So the next entry right here, 639. So guys, the reason I didn't want to take this trade over here at 640, 632 was because obviously you guys can see this big dump right here. Usually if you have a big dump like this, price tends to try to retrace back up, right? And if you measure from this high point to here, and this is just from previous experience, it's dropped almost 200 points. So that's why, like for me, I was like, okay, I'm not going to jump into this yet because obviously, if this pulls back even a little bit, it's going to stop me out before it comes back down further, right? So I like that market here is kind of slowing down because as it slows down, it gives me opportunity to jump in. When it gives me that opportunity, I can jump in and just kind of ride the wave lower. So we got this entry coming up at 639. The entry at 639 has it's with momentum. It has a 75.12 weighted probability, overall probability 68.42, buy probability of 50%, and a sell probability of 81.82. It's won one out of the three recent Fridays, and I'm going for a sell direction here. So let me go and put the stats for today so far. So today's algo entries. There was the opening one, 629. It was a win for plus 4R. We'll just put 2R actually. We don't need 4R. The other one at 632. Basically, every entry that came up so far has been pretty spot on. 639. Like I'm only taking trades that I feel comfortable with, guys. That's how you guys should always feel when you guys are taking trades. Although the trades come up, if you don't feel comfortable with it, um, you don't have to force a trade, of course. There's going to be other entries that are available. Especially on today. Today's NFP. It's NFP, even though there is no NFP, it's still NFP. So the thing is, other people are still kind of taking some, sort of crazy risks in the market. Um, for one, it's Friday. For two, it's NFP. So, yeah, you're right. It isn't 6:39 yet. Getting a little too ahead of myself right now. All right, we got that right there. Elijah said, first day here was able to catch that 829 entry for 86. Excited to learn and trade more with this community. Nice work, Elijah. Yeah, first day here. So welcome. And yeah, I hope you keep pushing with this here. So we got market kind of going back and forth a little bit over here. We have a pending buy signal here. If this buy signal comes up, then I mean, obviously there's not going to be a sell entry there for 639. So we got to see how this candle here closes. Pending buy signal, like I said. We got 3 minutes, so we got some time here before it gets down to that point. I kind of want to just take a tester trade here just to like let it run to see how it moves. Here, I'm just gonna take a tester trade just to see how it runs with the volatility in the market. All right, it's in the position right there. I'm just gonna let it run and kind of see how this here plays through. The stop loss a little higher. Or no, I'll just leave it. I'm just curious to see how here, if it stops out, I mean, that's fine. I just wanted to kind of see how it runs through this trade here. The execution was good though. You can see the execution was pretty spot on. There was like no drawdown on that. As a P&L down here. I ran it during Asia session, but not during I mean during New York, of course. I'm just gonna let it be. I just want to see how it plays and it runs through as price continues to, obviously move along. So here's one thing I don't like about price right now, guys. It's currently going back and forth very heavily, right? It's going back and forth super heavily right here. So we want price to stay below this area, basically below the wicks here. If it stays below the wicks, great. If it doesn't, then, obviously we don't want to be taking any trades that are going to be stuck in this chop because our stop loss is super tight, 20 points. There's a trade right there. It's currently running. Okay. So that was a good little tester right there. I just wanted to make sure that if I left it alone, it would just, execute on its own. I'm gonna keep just testing trades on the StoneX platform just to kind of see. Looking at the candles here again, guys, I don't know if I like how this is currently moving. Like I said, it's currently chopping up back and down. So I'm probably not going to take it on the hedge accounts. I'll probably just kind of play around with it on the StoneX platform to see where it ends up, where it ends up going. So I wanted to sit down here. You guys see the big wicks, right? Big wicks on the bottom, big wicks on top. It's basically hinting that okay, market's going to be choppy right here, so you might want to be very careful about anything that you get into. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on this trade on my own accounts, but I think I'll play around with it on StoneX. You guys see the big wicks right here? Huge, huge wicks on both ends. So I'm going to go ahead and try to take another tester trade here. Once this here has closed, I got the timer up here. It's in a different place. Yeah, you guys can see right here how price is stuck, right? There's a lot of wicks right here on the bottom and it's stuck and it's kind of just holding in place. It's actually looking like it might be a pretty decent trade. I think I'm going to get into it on the hedge account. I'll let that run there and I'll kind of just come back to it in a little bit. But oh fuck, never mind. The candle is now too big. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on this one, guys. Like I said, I wanted to hold down here, but see the big wicks? There's a big wick on top, big wick on bottom. It's just right now the market's very, very unpredictable. The reason why I'm being a little more cautious is because also the ATR, look at the ATR, it's currently at 40 right now. So if it pulls back even just a little bit, this can stop me out pretty quickly. Trade's running right now. Let me check my StoneX trade. It's currently kind of bouncing back and forth, of course. Like I said, the volatility here is just a little too crazy for me to get in with my hedge accounts. I mean, this thing could easily shoot down. I don't like the crazy volatility though. See how it's not very consistent? Playing it safe right now, guys, because obviously, obvious reasons is the slippage. That's a good thing I sat out of that trade because you can see right there, I wouldn't have played out. So, guys, again, I'm not sitting out of this because I'm hesitant. I'm sitting out of it because I see the choppiness in the market, right? So, a lot of choppiness right here. I mean, even with this previous intro we had at 632, like I started to see here that this huge wick started coming. Let me scroll up a little bit. See this big wick right here? I started seeing wicks right here on the bottom and wicks on top. The problem with that is that if there's big wicks on both the top and bottom, it's going to move like this, right? And like we mentioned, my stop loss is extremely tight. It's 20 points. And the ATR is currently at 39. So, like I said, if this here chops up and down, it's easy to stop me out before it comes down into profit, right? And that's why I'm not looking to get stuck in this chop here right now. Um, I'm hoping the market starts to kind of move a little smoother in a few because we're starting to run out of these entries here at 6. We got one more at 632 or 642 actually. I just don't like the conditions right now. So 642, this is actually a buy entry. So this is going to be with momentum. It has a weighted probability of 67.98, overall probability of 52.63, buy probability of 83.33, and a sell probability of 38.46. It won two out of the three recent buys. It's going to be a sell entry here, so there's no entry here at 642. If you guys want to take it for a buy, let me check the probabilities here for a buy. So probability for a buy, I don't think it's going to meet criteria. It's 52.63 plus um actually note to sell. No, it's not going to meet criteria. It's too low. 38.46 divided by 200. No, it's a negative edge. Yeah, it's negative edge. If you guys want to take this trade here, it's going to be a sell, 642. I'm looking for a buy. So because it's not a buy, I'm not taking it. There's one following it too right here. This is going to be a buy as well at 643, but you need a buy signal here to take that trade. These are both with momentum. So there goes the entry right there. It is currently, well, I mean, there's no entry because the buy never came up. But ideally, that's what I would have wanted, right? There goes that bullish push right there. That would hit target 40 points. So again, just going back to that entry 642, the probabilities here for a weighted average was at 67.98. For buys, it was 83.33. I was looking for a buy there, but because there was no bullish momentum, obviously we couldn't take it there for a buy, right? That trade was going to come up for a sell. So you can see here the criteria lines up with what I was, well, if it lined up for what I was looking for, the buy there would have been pretty nice. It would have shot straight to target with no drawdown. The next entry here at 642, again, it's with momentum. This is not going to be a buy because there's no buy momentum there. Next one's at 646. This is going to be against momentum. A lot of choppiness here. Nice work, Ark. So Ark passed all of his three evals at the same time, at the same damn time. Nice work, Ark. Congrats to you, bro. Catching those trades right there. Looks like you took the breakout for today. So ARK has been killing it. If you guys see the profits from this week so far, ARK's been consistent. So ARK yesterday, he won like about 500 per account. The day before that, ARK run about 400 per account. The day before that, ARK won about 1,000 per account. And then the day before that, he won 1,000 per account right here. So every day, ARK's been hitting about 1,000 in profit every single day. And then today, he locked in 250 per account and he passed all of his evals. You can see right there, they're about 53. Nice work, Ark. So this is funded, and then these three are evals. So big congrats to you, bro. Killed it on that right there, Ark. I know you've been asking a lot of questions trying to figure out what fits for you, but I'm glad you kind of figured out what fits for you. It seems like you figured it out. You know, whether you're taking all the entries or just a few of them. Looks like you kind of just figured that one out right there. I'm not sure what you're taking. It looks like one trade, so it seems like you're sticking to the breakout for the most part on open. Justice said, congrats, bro. Caught the 632W. Nice work, Justice. You know, I'm always tempted to get into that trade. Every time I see it, I'm like, man, that looks like a good entry. But the problem there is that the problem is that it's always like pretty close to this. You know, obviously it's 2 minutes after open, and I'm always worried that it's gonna retrace back or pull back and stuff like that. But nice. All right, so there's an entry right here at 646. This is going to be against momentum. It has a weighted probability of 65.31, overall probability of 57.89, and the cells here have a 72.73 probability of it winning. It won two out of the three recent Fridays, and it's for a sell. So this trade is going to come up right here for the for the 646. The only problem with this, guys, again, that I'm just mentioning is that, you know, price, the momentum here is very strong to the upside. So you're going to be fading momentum here. I'll take it on my tester account over here on StoneX, but I don't think I'm going to be taking it on my own account for obvious reasons, right? So let's see, this candle is about to close in about 30 seconds. Like I said, the momentum here is pushing up, so I don't really want to fade the momentum, of course. But this trade is coming up shortly. I'm going to see if I can take it here on the tester account. You know, like I mentioned before, guys, I'm being very cautious about my entries. I don't need to force anything here. We're still in profit for the week, so I'm looking for like a pretty spot on entry to get into. than something that's a little bit risky in a sense. So this candle is going to close in about 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, so I'm going to see right here. I'm just letting the trade run and kind of testing it out on the execution. The executions look good here on StoneX. No problems. So I skipped this trade here because I said there was a big bullish momentum. And it's a good thing I skipped it because it looks like this trade here would have lost or it's gonna lose. Yeah, there you go. So you guys see this? This is the skill that comes with trading, guys. It's not about identifying winners. It's about identifying the losers, right? So for today, I pretty much identified two trades that I thought were gonna lose, right? Because of what market conditions are giving. So for example, right here, I skipped this one 646 because this was a sell entry. You're gonna be fading momentum, and the momentum here is very strong, right? We had this big green candle. I mentioned, okay, this is probably going to keep pushing up. See how this here spiked up and it came back down? That's the main reason why I skipped this trade here because I saw this was going to happen. So I skipped that one. We pretty much avoided a loss. And then same with this one over here at 639, right? Same thing. Market over here was kind of flattening out a little bit. And the entry right there seemed like it was going to push up. That's why I stayed out of this position because we had big wicks on both ends, a lot of uncertainty. And I sat out of that one. I avoided two losses for today. So the skill with trading, guys, isn't necessarily picking winners. It's being able to know when to sit out and hold off before getting into an entry, right? Because a loss can really mess up your trade psychology. So you can get lucky, honestly. You can take a buy or a sell at any moment and you can get lucky and win, right? But are you able to identify when to sit out of the market? That's the biggest thing, when to sideline yourself. Right now, I already identify these as like patterns that I've seen in the past where I got stopped out. So that's why I skipped those two positions there. So these two came up and they won. And these two came up and I skipped both of them for obvious reasons. And then these two right here didn't even come up at all. 42 and 43 did not come up. Next entry is going to be at 654. This is it's not going to be a target entry. It's just a normal entry. It has a 62 probability weighted, 57 overall, 66 for buys, 47 for sells. It won one out of the three recent buys. And we'll see here if it comes up shortly. So if you guys want to take this one, I mean, feel free. This is not a target entry, so I'm not looking to take it. I'll give you guys my analysis on it, but I'm not taking it because I already decided on that last night. All right, so again, we are waiting for this here. Yeah, Sam said volatility with choppy price action, staying out, waiting for my level. Yeah, so Sam's doing the same thing. He's just hanging back. Smart decision, bro. ATR is super high, 45. You got to be really careful about these entries here. Like I mentioned, I'm not here to take every single entry. I'm here to take the highest quality entries. For this week so far, I'm still in profit. You guys saw we had one win on Monday, one loss yesterday. We're still up 1R for the week. So I'm just being cautious, waiting for opportunities here to come up. The 702 is going to be my next actual entry that I'm looking to take. So that is going to be the next actual entry that I'm looking to kind of squeeze in here. And we'll see what happens shortly. All right, let me go over here real quick. I'm gonna put the entry over here so I know when it comes up. So the data is pulled up right here. I don't really need the data because I already have it on my chart. Yeah, that's basically the data here. Um, I think the numbers here aren't all right. Let me take this off and put it back on. I don't know why the dates here are like a little off. 1, 2, 1. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it off and put it back on. That's fine. I'll just leave it as is. I think the algo is just adjusting with like the data that's currently on the chart. It wouldn't matter because I already took the parameters from last night, so it's not going to make a difference. I mean, I'm just putting it on here so we can see when it comes up. I don't really care about the numbers here as much. So the thing that I notice here is that it's only showing 14 trades. Typically, it was trade like last night, it was showing about like 19 trades or 18 trades. But I'm not going to play around with it. I'll just leave it as is. Again, looking at this right here. So if we're looking at the most recent data, it shows that it has a 71% probability of it winning overall. And for the buys here, it actually has a 100% probability. So we'll see. We'll see as we get closer to 7 o'clock right there. Here's the 654 entry. It's going to come up in about 2 minutes. It's going to be a buy. So if you guys are looking to take it, you're waiting for this buy signal here to close. Yeah, PC said same here. Market regimen is changing. So in adaptation mode right now. Yeah. You always have to adapt with the market, guys. Always keep that in mind, right? You can't stay stagnant. You can use the same strategy, but you have to make some changes with regard to TP stop loss, sample size. There's just so many different things that go into, refining your edge and finding alpha. It's just how it is. Um, if the market was that easy, everybody would be good at it, right? It's not. It's really not that easy. You have to know how to adapt with the market. You have to know when to sit out. You have to know when to take trades. You have to just have, a full understanding of like what's going on in the market. For me personally, I'm just looking at the candle by candle. I'm not really looking at price action or technical analysis. There's nothing wrong with technical analysis and price action, but for me personally, I don't really care for it too much because, I'm basing everything off the quantitative data. So looking over here at the market structure, so the 1 minute's currently bullish, 5, 15, 30, or sorry, 5, 15, and 1 hour are all bearish. The 30-minute and 4 hour are neutral. So with that being the case, obviously the overall bias here is probably going to be bearish for the most part. And then looking over here at the overall trend, it's a little bit mixed, as you guys can see. It's a little mixed. The 1 minute over here is more on the neutral side. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter is blue. Pivots are kind of angling to the upside, so this is more of a bullish neutral. 5 minute over here, price is below the pivots. Trend meter is red. Pivots are angling down. Same with the 15, same with the 30, same with the 1 hour, and same with the 4 hour. So it's pretty bearish across the board, except for the 1 minute. The 1 minute is starting to shift up, but everything else is still bearish. So with that being the case, ideally, you might want to be aiming for a sell if you're using typical technical analysis or price action. However, that doesn't mean price is going to continue dropping down, right? You got to remember that, all of these tools and all this, the thing with technical analysis, guys, is that it's all in, well, not just technical analysis, but in general, everything is kind of in the past, right? So just because the numbers or the indicators or anything like that show you that's happened in the past, doesn't mean it's going to follow in the future, right? I guess like one of the biggest things that a lot of people get misconstrued is just because it's bullish right now or just because it's bearish, that doesn't mean price can keep dropping, right? The 1 minute here is leading. So if it pushes up, this can easily shift to the upside, or I mean, it can correct right back down. So just something to keep in mind, when you guys are analyzing things. Here, I'll do this right now while we wait. We do have some market structure right here. So we have a resistance up here and we have a support down here. This is the range right now. We have another resistance point somewhere right here. We have another resistance point right there. All right, so this is kind of where price is sitting right now. It's sitting at the sessions right here down the middle. So the entry right here at 654, it actually didn't come up because it was with momentum. There was no momentum signal. So even though we had it lined up right there, it did not come up for entry. So just something to keep in mind, guys, right there, if you guys are looking. So there's no entry right there at 654. This week has been a lot more trickier than we expected. So for NFP week, I was kind of hoping that there's going to be more volatility, more direction. But this week has actually been very choppy. I think it's been very choppy because the news that came out for this week, it was very unpredictable, right? So let's see, let me check the news for this week. Yeah, the news for this week was just super, super, unpredictable in a sense. So like looking over here, let's go to this week. Like we were expecting a lot like jobs data to come out and stuff like that because there was a lot of news events listed for this week. There was inflation news that came out on Monday. There was news here on Tuesday that was supposed to come out. Jobs data and housing data didn't come out. Wednesday over here, we had more inflation data came out. Yesterday, we had a bunch of news that was supposed to come out, it didn't come out because of the government shutdown. And then again today, we had NFP, but it didn't come out because of the government shutdown. The main news event that's coming up right now is going to be Michigan consumer sentiment at 7 o'clock. This is probably going to come out. Um, Maybe. I mean, I can't say for sure. But the thing that I see in the market is that it's very choppy because a lot of people were expecting, stuff to come out. But, a lot of this stuff just didn't come out. So, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's just the market that we're currently in. It's just a lot of people were kind of hoping for something to happen, didn't happen, but they still went in on their position. So, like, people are kind of confused about where price is going to go next. So, just something to keep in mind if you guys are looking to get into some positions here, of course. This week has been very, very back and forth. Not very much direction. It's kind of just all over the place in a sense. We got price pushing up right here. It looks like it's going to try to grab liquidity through these resistance points as price climbs up higher. Again, we have that news event coming up at 7 o'clock, so that's going to be one of the things to pay attention to. Michigan consumer sentiment at 7 o'clock. Oh, man, so like looking at this right here, see how price is pushed up super high? I was hoping that this was going to push up this high. Like I wanted it to push up, but not this high because I wanted to have some liquidity here to grab if the 702 entry came up, right? Because this is the one I'm actually looking to get into. The 702 entry is going to be with momentum for a buy. It has a weighted probability of 81.84, overall probability of 73, buy percentage probability of 90, and sell probability of 55. So it won 3 out of the 3 recent Fridays, and it's for a buy entry. So what I was hoping for here is that price was going to turn and then slowly make its way up, right? I was hoping we'd try to get in somewhere around here so that if we get a buy entry right here, it'd be able to push up to this area right here, right? The liquidity. So I wanted it to push up from here to there. But the thing is, price is already here. So this is a problem now. This becomes a problem because now that price is up here already, this can be a double top, right? If you guys are familiar with the patterns there. It could be an M pattern or a double top. So this is it's not what I wanted for the 702 entry. I was really hoping to get into that one there, but we'll see. I mean, if it breaks through it and it keeps pushing up higher, then great. We might be able to get into that entry there. It's 7 o'clock right now, so we had the news come out. Let me just check real quick. Michigan consumer sentiment was positive, it looks like. Yeah, or no, it was negative actually. Negative. So it was forecasted to be 53.6. It was actually 50.3. It was actually a lot worse than expected. Okay, so this is going to be a problem. I don't think we're going to get the sell entry here if this continues dropping from where it's currently at. Because we have a sell signal here right now, right? We need it to be a buy signal because it's a buy entry. I was really hoping we'd get into this position right here. It's not looking like we're going to get into it now unless this sell signal does not close, but it looks like it's going to close here. It's pushing down with the momentum as we speak. Oh, maybe not. Nope. Okay. So unfortunately, guys, it looks like we're not getting this entry here at 702. You see how the news catalyst kind of screwed with our trade here? We were expecting it to push up higher, but because the news here was negative, it pushed price down. It was a lot more negative than expected. It was negative, it was worse by 2.9 points. So last month it was 53.6 or forecasted to be 53.2. It was actually 50.3. So it's showing that the sentiment's not super great in the market. It means that the economy is not doing as good as it should be. The only way I can get this entry at 702 is if we get a buy signal on this specific candle. Like it needs to come up right now. If it doesn't come up right now, there's not going to be an entry for us to take here at 702 because this is with momentum, right? The momentum here is bearish. Here, let me check the probabilities for a sell. So 73.68 plus 55.56 divided by 200. I mean, it's right on the dot though. The sells could still be pretty good too, but it doesn't meet my criteria, so I don't want to force this trade. Like I said, it has to be above 65%. It's not there. Yeah, it's not there, so there's not going to be an entry for me to take, guys. Ah, man, what a week. What a week. I was hoping this was gonna, and I'm sure this is gonna push up. Look at how this is pushing up right now. Here, I'll take it on the Stone X. Or actually, I'm not gonna take it on the Stone X, but I'll just follow it. Because there's still not gonna be a buy entry here. See how this momentum is pushing up? This is what I was hoping was gonna happen when we took the entry. Because it has a 90% probability. It has a 100% probability on this right here. So, or not 100%, but weighted, of course, it'd be closer to like 80 or so. All right, so it's a sell position. If you guys want to take it, I mean, feel free. That's going to be a sell because it is with momentum. It still has a pretty decent probability, 64.62. But my decision for today was going to be for a buy. Unfortunately, I didn't have that opportunity to get into it, but the trade is running right there in profit. I think it's going to hit. Yeah, most likely. Yeah, this is going to hit. All right, so unfortunately, I don't think there's any other opportunities for today, I guess. We have one here that's like really close to it, 728. It's at 64.66 for a sell. It's off by just a few, like one less than 1 point, of course. Wes said this sucks. On MYM, the signal didn't close. I know, right? That's, I mean, this is the entry we wanted to take. I was like, or not this one, but obviously I wanted to take it if it came up. But yeah. So the entry right there hit full TP, guys, if you guys caught that. Looks like it hit full TP already. It exited for the 702. All right, man. It is what it is. It's gotta. I mean, I'm closing this week out in profit, so I really shouldn't be complaining. But I was excited to trade today. I was like, man, I'm gonna take two entries. I'm gonna have two back-to-back wins. I'm gonna kind of pull everything back up. But unfortunately, this it's just one of those weeks, those weeks where you kind of come into it very excited. You're like, oh, it's NFP week. There's gonna be a lot of volatility. There's gonna be a lot of opportunity to take the trades. Thing is, there wasn't really much opportunity here. I mean, the trades came up. There was probabilities, but these market conditions are so erratic that it's riskier to take the trade than not. So look at this entry right here. See how it hit target and then now it's starting to come right back up? It's just another example of like why this market's super choppy. The later entry as well is, I mean, the 755 entry didn't even come up, right? So let's look at the Discord real quick. Yeah, so we had a 755 entry that was right here from yesterday. This one lost, of course, but it did not come up for today. Let me check. Here, let's see. Let's see the data. I mean, technically, this trade with the current sample size, it still works for a buy probably. But I don't know. It's a 14 trade sample size. It's not super great. Let's see, 31. The number's 31, 24, short, 24, short, 17. Damn, look at this big dump right there. I'm gonna try to update this so it gives me a better sample. I don't know why it doesn't give me the 17. Here, let me refresh this real quick. Yeah, for some reason it's not letting me load up the 17. Or not the 17 today. There we go. Trying to see what the sample looks like for 55. All right, so 31 it was a win. 24 it was a loss. 17 was a win for short. They're all short positions though. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'll see what it looks like closer to 755. I mean, the probabilities they still line up. They're still lining up to about 65% for a buy. The thing that I'm not understanding here though is like why this thing has changed so much. I will see. We'll see as we get closer to it. Let's see. Elijah said, y'all have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week. All right, Elijah, we'll see you back here on Monday. Roosevelt said, hit my profit goal for the day. I'm going to learn from my mistakes and head out. Peace out. LOL. All right, Roosevelt, we'll see you back here on Monday as well. Um, Elad said this week is a wick. I know. Huge wicks on both sides. Very tricky market in a sense. Let's see. Sam said market in chaos, uncertainty as no job data release. Feds can't do anything as no data. Shutdown, then AI chip expense and debt. I know. It's so like I don't even know what to call it. It's like it's such a weird market that we're in. Because there's other stuff happening around the world, but the government shutdown is really taking a toll. If you guys saw what happened with the I mean, if you guys are in the US, you guys heard about what happened with the airports, right? So the airports are pretty much cutting a ton of flights. We're going into the holiday season, right? A lot of people are going to be traveling and a lot of their flights are getting canceled, which is huge because that's a lot of money for the airports. Um, and it's just a lot of chaos happening. It's like it's the worst time for the government shutdown to happen, right? I think the government shutdown would have been okay if it happened like around the holidays, like say Thanksgiving, government shutdown, everyone's just off for like a whole 2 months. Um, that would make sense, but this government shutdown has been going on for almost 2 months now. This is the longest government shutdown in history. So, just something to keep in mind. Something to keep in mind over here. A lot is asking Sean why 702 a win. Let's see the 702 entry right here. It was a win because it was with momentum, right? So the 702 entry over here was with momentum. This was a sell momentum, and the sell would have been taken right there. We didn't have an entry ourselves because it didn't come up for a buy. There's no buy entry there. It was for a sell. Does that make sense? Because we're basing it off like the actual setup, like the setup, the entry if it would have happened. It would have been a sell. We wanted to take a buy though, but we did the math. Remember, we did the math here for the sells and for the buys. It worked either way. It was just for me, I was looking for a buy, but you could have taken the buy or the sell, like whichever direction it came up with, because the probabilities are so high. So yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like I mentioned, when I mark up my entries for the next day, so I do this pretty much the night before. I already have a bias, right? I look for the bias, but the thing is, like, even though my bias is for a buy, a lot of times they're going to be very aligned, right? Like either direction. Like for example, the 629 entry over here. I picked a sell because it was a little bit higher, but it didn't really matter if I had a buy or a sell, right? Like for this, I probably for direction I would put buy or sell, not just buy or sell, but I would put both. If it comes up for a buy or sell, take it because it wins both either direction. It was the same thing with the 702 entry over here. I could have put both, but I just didn't because I like to have some sort of bias when I'm taking the trade. So this over here. Let's see, PC said recently created a similar algo as this to play with using RSI swings above or below the 50 with length varying from 7 to 14. Found that when the entries line up with imbalanced rejections, they have a high win percentage. That's good. Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to do it. There's a ton of different ways to produce algos for specific strategies. Like my strategy is not the only algo strategy that's out there. There's a ton of them out there. It just depends on like what you guys are looking for. Like if you guys like to trade those, RSI over extensions and then align them with the imbalances, like what PC is doing, that works just as good. You can create an algo to identify, the orb entries. So let's check the orb for today. The orb for today lost. I'm really glad that we stopped trading the orb because it looks like the orb here just has not been doing good at all. So here goes the orb. Yeah, it's probably a good decision that we stepped away from the orb because the orb is just it's getting destroyed. Everyone that I used to see, not everybody, but like Visual, he probably still does the orb and he's probably still doing pretty decent on it. But everyone else that I used to see take the orb or talk about the orb, nobody's taking the orb anymore. The orb lost today. Whether you waited for the close and retest or whether you got in right away. Let's see the orb from the day before. See, the problem with this orb is that the market's so choppy that the orb just keeps it lost again right here. So yeah, if you take the orb over here, again another loss. See, I can't stomach this many losses. A lot of losses here for the orb. As much as I like the orb and as much as it made sense as a strategy, when the market's choppy, the orb, it's not a good strategy. Look at this again right here. Price broke below the orb, another loss. So every day this week looks like the orb would have lost. Pretty glad we moved away from the orb. But yeah, there's a couple people that were always talking about the orb and were like super pushy against the orb. And of course, I'm not here to like to knock on the strategy because I like the strategy as well. Like I wish it would have worked better, but it won here on Tuesday. So it won on Tuesday, but it pretty much lost every other day. Let me say Monday. So Monday won too. Or no, it lost, it looks like. So the orb would have been negative for this week. Oh no, the orb looks like it would have won. So it would have been break even, it looks like, for this week. See, the orb is an okay strategy, but I can't stomach taking that many losses. Um, yeah, so the orb won on Monday. It won actually it might be the same as ours. It's at a 1R because it won on Monday. I think it won on Tuesday, but then it lost every other day. So lost three, won four. It's at 1R for this week. So it's still profitable. Just not as profitable as we would have liked, of course. All right, let's see. Yeah, so what Justice mentioned, he said it was a W for a sell. Weighted probability was just below criteria at 64.7. Yeah, it was really close, but obviously I'm going off my numbers here. Let's just do the math again real quick. So 73.68 plus 55.56 divided by 200. Yeah, it was like right below it, 64.6. So technically, yeah, it just wouldn't have met the criteria unless so if we rounded this up to the second number, this would be 65, like right at 65. Which didn't meet my criteria there. All right, price is pushing up still as we speak. Here, I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let me run through some entries here. If there's anything I missed, or here, let me take this back off. It seems like there's an issue with this here. It's not updating. So I'll just update it with the currently used sample size. I'm just going to run through entries really, really quick to see if there's anything that we might be able to maybe jump into. Okay, so 918. Let's just go from 918. I'm gonna run through every single entry that maybe might be able to come up from now until 8 o'clock. You're gonna see how quickly I can identify this stuff. So I'm looking for the main thing I'm looking for is for this to be above 50. If it's not above 50, I'm not gonna pay any attention to it. This is above 50. So I look at this first, 50, and then this is 57. I do basic math in my head. It's not gonna add up to 56 or 65, right? It has to average to at least 65 for me to take an entry. So let's just go through real quick. 20, 28. No, that's not going to average out. 7. So I'm just doing the math in my head real quick. I don't really need a calculator to identify if it's above a 60 or not, or a 65 at least. 22. So this is how I make my list of trades. I go by every single minute. And sorry guys, 1 second. My back's fucking itchy. Where's my little thing at? My trusty back scratch. I don't know why. Okay, so let's do that real quick. 725, nothing there. 26. So you guys can see if you have a system in place to just identify entries, it doesn't take very long. This probably takes me like 30 minutes to identify my entries at night now because I have this here and my computer is pretty fast where I can process the data super quickly. All right, this one over here might be good actually. 64.29 plus 80. I think Ed mentioned this. Thanks, Ed. Okay, we actually have an opportunity right here at 620. I mean 728. It's a weighted probability of okay, 72. 72.15. I already have it on here. Okay, so the weighted probability is actually higher. So I'll be looking to maybe get into the 728. This is based off the new sample data because the sample data is a little bit smaller, but it's still fine. So I'll be looking to maybe get into this position here. It's gonna be with momentum. Basically, it's going to follow it. The numbers here are just a slightly bit higher. So this was like almost at 65, but with the new data here, it's at 72. So it does meet the criteria for, man, fuck, my back's fucking itchy. Oh, I don't know what, mosquito bite on my back or something. The weather here in California has been so weird lately. It's like been really cold and like fucking mosquitoes are like, I feel like the worse than they are in the summer. All right, my trusty back scratcher. Okay. Unless I got dog hair on my fucking shirt. Cody Kai, dude, those guys are fucking so furry. Whole office is full of fur. All right, so the next entry I'll be looking to get into is going to be here at 728. I think that's probably going to be the only entry that that I got listed here. There's going to be an entry here at 721. This is for a sell. The probabilities aren't super, super high, but it's not going to line up with what we're looking for. So, or I mean, the buys here are actually still good too. If you guys want to take it, this is going to be a buy entry. Candle's pretty big though. All right, if you guys want to take this here, I'll mark it up for you guys. This is a 721 entry. It's going to be, there you go. It's currently running. Not in this position, but if you guys wanted to take it, it is running. So the 721 is against momentum. It has a probability of 63.40 weighted. Overall probability of 63.16. The buys over here have a 62.50% probability. So it's not horrible. Like I wouldn't consider it a bad, like a really bad trade, but it's let's do the math. 63.40 plus 62.50 divided by 200. Yeah, it's not high enough, but I mean it's there. If it's something that you guys want to get into, it's pushing up right there in profit as we speak. Looks like it's about to hit. So I'm having some internet connection issues here. Okay. So I'm not in this position right here at 621. The probabilities weren't horrible, but I mean, look at this choppiness right here, right? You don't really want to be trading in this choppy market. So we'll see how the market starts to move as we get closer to 728. Let me just take this off. I don't want you guys to think I'm in it. But the one I'm looking for is going to be right here at 728. So what I want to see here is I want price to push below from where it's currently at. I don't want price to be chopping up back and forth right here, right? I also don't want to see a huge candle like this kind of like get in the way. But it's fine. We still have some time between 623 and 620, or sorry, 723 and 728. So we'll um we'll kind of see here. But again, if there's no entries that come up or nothing here meets my criteria, I'm not going to force any trades, right? Like I said, I'm still profitable for the week. I'm up 1R. We had a win on Monday, which is a 2R, and then we had a loss yesterday, which was 1R. So we're still technically up 1R for the week. So we'll see. I will keep following it here. If price does come back lower, that's fine. Here is the chart for our markups. Let me see if I have any other levels here to mark up. So we have new support level right here, support level right there, and then we have an imbalance right here. All right, so we got an imbalance right here. What I would like to see here probably is like break and retest of the imbalance. Yeah, so price is coming up right here to retest the imbalance. Something to look at. Again, the entry right here is going to be at 728. We got 3 minutes till the entry. All right, let's see. Yeah, PC said I've been avoiding trades after 7:15 since last interest rate meeting. Yeah, I mean it's been kind of choppy, right? After 7 o'clock in general, we haven't even had very many entries at 7 o'clock. You can see it kind of died down a bit. A lot of the entries came up before seven, and then by 7 o'clock, the probability just kind of went down the drain, basically. So I agree with you, PC. The market, like you said, you have to adapt with the market conditions. Market conditions right now don't necessarily weigh in the favor of trades after 7 o'clock because the volatility either dies down or market just gets super choppy. So we have a pending buy signal right here, guys. If this buy signal comes up, that's going to put the nail in the coffin basically for this week. And I think we're going to be done, but we'll see. I'll still hang around though. So even if we don't have the entry here at 728, I'll hang around. So if you guys have any questions, I can answer your guys' questions. Um, yeah, I mean, this week is just a little bit of a toss-up, honestly. I was expecting there to be news for this week. So when I realized this was NFP week, I was like, okay, perfect. This week's going to have a lot of news. It's going to cause volatility. There's going to be a catalyst in the market. And the week came and there was no news. Or there was news. There was inflation news, but there was no jobs data, which is what everybody was expecting, what everybody was waiting for. All right, so we got the entry coming up shortly, guys. Again, we have a pending buy signal here. If this buy signal comes and closes, it's not going to be an entry for us, right? We're not going to be looking to get into it or even think about taking it. Um, yeah, if this doesn't come up, I'll just scan for other entries. But for the most part, okay, so this imbalance has been invalidated. This now has became an inverse fair value gap for those of you who like to trade fair value gaps. This initially we were looking for it to confirm as a fair value gap, but because price didn't actually you know, break and retest, it actually broke and invalidated. It's now an inverse. And it looks like this buy signal here is going to close. All right, that's fine. So with that being the case, it looks like I'm not going to be having any entries for today because the only entry I was looking for was at 728 and it was supposed to be for a sell. Oh, so it didn't actually close. Okay, I'm going to watch this right here. I'm going to see how this candle here closes. If this candle here closes red, possible entry there. I mean, it's not looking like it here. I don't know. I don't like that pending momentum on that candle right there. That pending momentum is throwing me off. Yeah, it's not worth the risk, guys. We have price has been trying to push up from this point for a while now. I don't know. I don't like the way that this is moving. So this thing came right back down. If you guys want to take this, the entry is going to be at 728 for a sell. Probability is going to be right at the 65 mark. So if you guys want to take it, feel free. I'll mark it up for you guys here. I just don't like how this here is moving. The volatility on this candle, like I mentioned, there's a couple of key things to look at when you guys are taking entries here. The key thing is going to be the wicks, right? One is going to be the candle size, and two is going to be the wicks. If you see a lot of wicks, it's probably a good decision to sit out because it means that market's going to be choppy, right? Just looking at the basic price action there. Doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna always wick around, but yeah, the entry right there is currently running at 728. I'll follow it for you guys, but I am not in the position. For one, this had a pending buy signal. For two, this thing came down at the last second. For three, big wicks, right? Big wicks all over the place. So you don't want to trade when the market's uncertain. You want to trade when it's like moving consistently, right? So for example, if the sell entry here came up and it was just dropping, retrace, dropping, drop, retrace, dropping, great. Hop into the trade, get into that, run it right through. Problem with this here is that this isn't really doing that, right? It's coming down, then it's coming right back up, then it's coming down, then it's coming right back up. And you don't want to trade in a market like this where it's choppy because our stop loss is super, super tight, right? We have a 20-point stop loss, guys. If it pulls back even a little bit, you're kind of screwed. If you get hit with slippage, you're screwed. So there's two things to kind of be careful for here when there's a choppy market. It's slippage, because if you get in for slippage and you get in super like a little bit below here, you're going to be down 10 points already. It pulls back even a little bit, you're stopped out. So it looks like we made a good decision of skipping this trade because this trade would have lost. Right? Same thing that I talked about earlier, guys. This all comes from experience. I've seen this happen one too many times. If there's too many wicks, a lot of uncertainty, right? Look at these previous candles over here. Let me just show you, for example. So look at these candle movements over here. Really nice and smooth, right? You see the wicks? There's barely any wicks there, right? Even this over here. Look at these candles. See how this here kind of it goes sideways, but then it also kind of goes up and sideways, right? Look at the candles, not very many wicks. Same with the opening candle, right? So look at this big red candle right here on open. See how price dumped? Look at the candles. No wicks. So this one over here actually would have been an okay entry. The 702 or 602 or whatever it was, 632. But because of the extreme volatility here, I didn't want to jump into it, right? So I just mentioned this earlier. there's two things that you want to look at. Look at the candle size to identify the market volume, or like, the volume per candle. And then also look at the wicks. The wicks are going to tell you if market's choppy or not. And you can see over here, this thing's been chopping up pretty much for the past hour. Look at every candle here. Big wicks, big wicks, big wicks, etc. So I already knew this was going to be a very risky idea for me to get into these positions here. And I'm glad I skipped these trades because I'm still profitable for the week, right? Because of my ability to identify risky entries here, I was able to avoid anything that would screw up my account for this week. So let's go again. I'm going to look over here at the entries that Ed identified. So thanks, Ed, for doing this for us. He said 934. Let's see. So I don't see anything here on 934. You probably are using a bigger sample size. So let's see, 50 plus 65.67 divided by 200. It's a little bit below. So the 34 one is not going to meet my criteria. You said 940. 940. Let's see. This one might. Let's see. I'm going to do the math again. 5714 plus 75 divided by 200. Okay, so this one at 940 might work. Yeah, no, you're good, Ed. I'm glad that you came up with those numbers because I can just double check it, right? So I'm glad that you did that. Thank you for doing that for us. And I'm going to put the criteria over here. At least you gave me like numbers to work with. I think that's the best thing that you could have done to help me here because I don't really have the time or effort to really, mark these up myself. All right, this is 940. I'm just gonna put this right here. 740. This is with momentum. 66.07. And I'm just gonna look, right? I'm not planning on taking these entries. It's just I'm gonna look. If the trade comes up and it looks good, then obviously I'll hop into it. But I'm not I'm not convinced that I want to take this trade here yet. I'm only gonna point for one direction, which is a sell. Check the history. I mean, the history doesn't really matter, honestly. The history is just an extra confluence. So 31, 24. Okay, one, two out of the two. I'm not going to go super far back, guys. It's too much work for me to go and do that. So 2 out of 2 history. Um, for a sell. All right, so it looks like we have a possible opportunity here at 740, 940. Again, if the market stops being so choppy, then maybe we'll look into it. But again, look at these candles. Huge wicks, big wicks all over the place, right? Big wicks everywhere. Not a good sign. All right, so Ed's other entry was at 755. Let me check that out real quick. Okay. Drag this over. 50 plus 80 divided by 200. 65 on the dot. Or a buy though. 50%. All right, let's see. 31st was a buy, well, a win. 24th was a loss. Okay, so I think those are the only entries that I can see. Let's see, maybe one more here at 56. This one's looking like it's going to be against. Okay. This one over here looks like it could possibly meet the criteria too. 57.14 plus 71.43. Oops. 57.14 plus 71.43. 64.29. Okay. Oh no, it doesn't meet the criteria. Okay, so this one actually doesn't meet the criteria. It's 56. Has to be above 65. Okay, so guys, these are, if you guys want to keep taking entries, we have a couple more. They may come up. There's one at 740. Again, like I said, market conditions here are not good, right? So if you guys want to take these entries, I'd say take it very, very cautiously at your own risk. I'm not going to take them unless like the market here starts to move. See how price here is very choppy, just going back and forth? These are the worst conditions to take a momentum trade, right? Because when you're trading momentum, you want to be riding momentum. You basically want to ride the wave. There's no wave here, right? Just going back and forth, back and forth. In order to take this momentum trade, you want price to really come down and move smoothly, right? That's the type of entry you want to take. So in order for you to take this here, you need price really to come down below this point right here. So in a sense, this is kind of what you're waiting for. You're looking for price to break and close below structure, create new structure below. I don't think we have enough time for that to happen. This is at 7:40. It's coming up in about 2 minutes, under 2 minutes. So we got that right there. And then there's another one right here at 750 or 750, yeah, 755 right there. So we'll need price to get below this point. The one at 755 is for a buy. So you need, in that situation, you need price to actually come up above here. But you guys can see, so now that I've drawn the structure here, you can kind of see where price is kind of consolidating and ranging, right? See this right here? It's not the kind of market you want to be trading in. Not if you're trading momentum. If you're trading like, reversal strategies, if you're trading within the range, perfect. Great. Take the trade if it tells you to take a buy somewhere over here. Like if it bounces off here, you get a double bottom or triple bottom. Great. Take your buy there. But with this specific strategy, I'm not really looking for this here to, like, I would need there to be some kind of push. All right, so the entry is coming up shortly, guys, in about a minute. If you guys are looking to take the entry here. This is going to be a weighted probability of 66%. It's not a crazy edge, but I mean, it's still an edge nonetheless. And there's actually not going to be an entry there. So the sell signal never came up. So this one is not going to be the opportunity for entry. Yeah, the entry here is actually going to be a buy. Uh, yeah, I don't think the buys here lined up properly, or they didn't. It's not a good setup. Here, let's see. With regard to the probabilities. Yeah, probability is too low for a buy. It's a 50%. I wouldn't take it. All right, so guys, here are my stats for the week. Or these are the stats for the day, I guess. Stats for the day. Um, my stats for the week, I won a trade on Monday. So let's see, I think I have my trader sync over here. I was only able to sync up my personal account. So this is my personal account right here. I made 1,895 on Monday, and then I took a loss yesterday of 1,110. So I'm in profit about close to 1,000, I guess, for the week off. This is just one account. Yeah, I mean, this is all I got for right now. So we took a win on Monday, took a loss on Thursday. I was hoping today we'd get one win because this would recoup this loss and push us pretty heavily into profit for the week. But unfortunately, this today just didn't have any opportunities that we could get into. Market was too choppy. There just wasn't any direction of price movement. And for the most part, kind of just played it safe in a sense. All right, the last opportunity here is going to be at 755. But again, like I said, we're in a choppy market here, so it's not really the best time or place to take momentum-based entries. You want to trade off the support and resistance or the supply and demand, whatever you want to call it, feel free. But the criteria here just does not line up with what we're looking for, which is fine, right? You got to be okay with not trading, guys. I think that's the that's the thing with trading. You have to understand like, when to move and when not to move. Right now, it's for me personally, it's just a time not to move because there's nothing to take here. So you guys see the sell entry right here? This is a sell entry that I wanted to take. Unfortunately, didn't come up in time, but it looks like the sell here did line up and it was gonna push through. So right there, that entry right there at 740. Right, we were looking for a sell entry here because it had a 75% probability of a sell. Unfortunately, the sell didn't come up because the sell signal wasn't there. And yeah, there just wasn't any opportunity there to take it. What it looks like here, if it did come up, it would have played out pretty nice. I'm sure this is going to hit. Might take some time, but it looks like it's about to push down and hit its target right there. So, all right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Um, yeah, I mean, there isn't really much here to look at. We pretty much kind of looked at everything for the most part overall. Um, all right, responding to a couple of emails here. Um, yeah, I don't really see much. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else for me to look at. Man, that would have been a nice entry. That would have been a good entry, Ed. I'll let you identify the 740 if it would have came up, but unfortunately did not come up and just nothing for us to take right there. Let's see. All right, so the next entry is at 755. Again, I don't think this one's going to come up personally, but I guess we'll see.
Connection lost.
Connection lost. There goes my cue, guys. It's my cue to not trade today. I'm just going to close out my Ninja Trader. I'm not going to take any trades. If you guys want to take something, I'll identify it for you, but I think I'm done for this here specifically. Nice, Ed. I just saw your message right now. Yeah, Ed, definitely. I just saw your message. Um, but yeah, if you want to help me set that up, that'd be great. It'd be good for a day like this, for because if I just wanted to like kind of see what was happening, within the next 30 minutes or so, it would it'd be super efficient to just run the program that you guys are running. But all right, guys, I'm gonna shut down my laptop. My Ninja Trader was disconnecting anyways, so not really a big deal. Typical Ninja Trader. But all right, so the next and final entry is going to be at 755 for anybody who's looking to take it. It's obviously going to be for a buy here, but I don't know if there's going to be a buy entry which comes up. So in order for us to get that entry there, we need to have, so this is what you guys want to look for. Look for price here to flatten out, look for a buy signal, and look for the continuation up higher. I think that is the main thing that we'd be looking for. Let's see, Arc said I know a person with Apex and they might can help you. I had to get a VPS and it worked good. Just disconnect and reconnect every morning. Nice. Yeah, no, yeah, I thought about setting up a VPS. The only problem is that it's not something I'd run for the hedge fund, of course. Prop accounts, yeah, it's fine. Because if you blow a prop account, no big deal. But with the hedge fund clients, this is all like real fun, so I can't really take that kind of risk. Um, using a virtual PC if anything was to happen. So yeah, thanks, Tarek. I'll probably look into that. I mean, maybe I don't even have to look into it because it's not really necessary for me specifically, but yeah, I'll keep that in mind for if I ever need it for like the prop accounts. The cool thing with Sonex is that I can trade directly on the computer now on my Mac, so I don't really need a PC for that. Just gonna try to take another tester trade here. But yeah, basically this is the StoneX platform. It's a pretty cool platform overall. I like it. The main thing I was really looking for here is to see if there's any slippage problems, any delays, stuff like that. So I'll see how this kind of moves around and then maybe I'll take a tester trade for that 755. It's gonna be with momentum. With momentum for a buy, of course. Let's see, PC said, look at that imbalance rejection confluence along with the change of character. Let's see. Yeah, I see it right here. So there's an imbalance that was right here. It looks like a break and retest of it. So I'm assuming this is what you're referring to, right? BC. There's an imbalance here, break and retest off that imbalance, and then a change of character once price broke the structure right here. So once price broke the structure is an imbalance, and then confluence was a change of character. But it looks like, I mean, depending on like where people are entering from, like if you would have waited for the change of character and you got in right here, I mean, yeah, you could have locked in maybe like 30 points or so, but then now it's pushing all the way back up. All right, let's see. Maybe the 755 entry could be good, possibly. Yeah, I mean, this could be a good entry actually, now that I'm looking at it. Basically fake out back into the range, continuation of higher. Or it might just consolidate down here. That could also be the case. But all right, guys, 7:51. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. If there's anything you want me to explain, again, feel free to hop into the chat. If you guys are interested in participating in the hedge fund, so we're probably going to make the transition to StoneX probably next week, if not the week after. That's I'm trying to get us over to StoneX as soon as possible, guys. I mean, realistically, as soon as possible. Um, so we'll try to get everything over. Um, yeah, I gotta finish talking to the account manager. I'm because I need to figure out how to put in the block orders. I still don't know how to do that yet. But other than that, I'm able to kind of place my orders in pretty nicely. Here's the feature I wanted to show you guys. This feature is kind of cool. So let's see. Say for example, I wanted to take a buy entry, but I wanted to enter at the close of this candle, right? So if I want to enter at the close of the candle, I would so I would just park it. The only problem is I can't put a I can't put a target entry there, like a bracket order. So I'm just going to use this as an example to show you guys that this thing's I think this is pretty cool. So park custom at we'll say 7:54. So I got a park entry right there. So check this out. The countdown's happening at 7:30. We're at 30 seconds, right? I got a parked order right here on StoneX. It's pretty cool because like the only problem again, like I said, is like I can't set a TP stop loss right away. I gotta set up like a whole different order, which is like it's I don't know how to do it yet. I gotta figure out how to do it. But look, it's gonna count down in 10 seconds. So in 10 seconds, it's gonna automatically enter a buy order for me, which I think is pretty cool. And see, I'm in the buy right there now. So I'm now in a buy position. The only thing I don't know how to do is set up the TP stop loss for it. And that's like I got to figure out how to do that because it's not as simple where I can just double click on it and figure out. But I think that's a pretty cool feature that I can do a parked order and then it just enters when, the candle closes. So I don't have to wait for that countdown. Although I don't mind waiting for the countdown, it's not a big deal. It's just it would be a nice feature if I was able to have the TP stop loss. I try to look it up, but there's just no way for me to do it. I have to ask the account manager how to do that in the future. Let's see. Rev is asking if I'm taking the 7:55 entry. I'm done taking entries for the day, Rev. I actually closed down my laptop already because I had the disconnect, so I just ended up closing down my laptop. This is just a tester trade. I was just showing you guys that park function, which is kind of cool. Um, I mean, let me close that. I'm not supposed to be in this position anyways. This is another cool function. It's just flatten out all my positions there. Yeah. So I'm still playing around with the functions here to kind of see like how I want to do things. But yeah. So let me see that 7:55 entry. I guess I could run another tester trade here just to kind of play around with it. So the candle's closing in about 40 or in about 20 seconds. If you guys want to take it, feel free to take it. Again, like I said, I'm not taking the entry on my accounts. My laptop's already shut down for the day. But I'll try to just kind of take this here as a tester trade to see how everything runs with the StoneX. All right, so there goes the trade right there for that 7:55. Obviously, I wouldn't have taken it. It just didn't meet the stuff that I was looking for. Good thing we skipped that trade, right? Or that I decided not to take it because it looks like it wouldn't have played out. All right, guys, so we made some pretty good decisions today, not taking a lot of these trades, right? So let's go back to the list over here. So these are the trades that came up, which we were like kind of okay with, but for the most part, the ones that we skipped, I think this is where the real learning happens, right? knowing when to sit out of a position. So this first one over here at 639, we skipped that, not yeah, this one right here. We skipped the 639 entry. It was with momentum. The reason why we skipped this one is because price was starting to flatten out, and then also it was overextended, right? So this dropped down about 200 points. This entry over here came up for a sell at 639. I mentioned, okay, I'm going to sit out of this because it's due for retracement or reversal, right? So we skipped that one. That trade would have lost. Good decision of skipping it. 642 and 643, these didn't come up because they were for a buy, but they came up for a sell. And then 646, we skipped this one, which was um, right here. The reason why we decided not to take it was because momentum was pushing up, right? At 646, we had this big candle where price pushed up. We decided not to take the entry for that specific reason, right? Because we don't want to fade momentum. Obviously, we're going with momentum and we wouldn't want to trade against it. So with that trade right there, we skipped it, didn't take it. That we avoided another loss. 702 right here, this trade did not come up in our criteria. So the 702 entry over here came up. I was looking for a buy entry, but it came up for a sell. So if you took the entry there, it still would have hit, but it didn't meet my criteria, so I skipped that one. And then these other entries over here, of course, we skipped these because they just didn't meet the criteria with the setup that we were looking for. Like I said, you don't want to trade in a choppy market like this because it's easy to get chopped out because the stop loss is so tight. And I mean that's about it. So for this week, we basically closed out the week with a 1R. We won one trade on Monday, which was a 2R, and we lost one trade yesterday. I didn't take anything else this week. Nothing on Tuesday, nothing on Wednesday, nothing today. I was hoping to get into a trade today, but it just did not meet our criteria. I had to like this trade here at 755 that we just looked at. It didn't even show up on my list prior from the data last night, so I didn't put it on here. With the smaller sample size here, it did come up. Now it's not really there because it's dropped even more after that loss there. So, guys, just another reminder, when you're using the algo is going to give you probabilities, but it's never going to be 100%. You still have to use your discretion to determine if you want to take that probability or not, right? This probability at 755, it wasn't very strong. It was like barely at 65. Like it just met the criteria. For me personally, for me to want to take it, the criteria has to be a bit stronger, right? Like a 74, 70, 66, 75, 67, etc. If it's right at 65, you're kind of forcing the trade there at that point, right? It becomes a FOMO trade because you want to get into a trade so badly that you're basically making it work when it doesn't work on its own. So yeah, I think that's about it for the day, guys. If there's anything else that you guys have to ask, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Sam said have a fun weekend, guys. Super green, so spend it. Yeah, I agree. Ed said, sorry, I think you've been asked many times, but what is your criteria calculation? Okay, yeah, no problem. So the solution for that, and I'll tag you in it over here too, just like so you can see it in the future. Ed, but I'll explain it to you as well. I just want to tag you in it so you can, I think I put it in this chat here, right? Where was it at? It might be under algo. I know Justice asked for it this week. Oh, here we go. So I'm just going to tag you in this one, Ed, but I'm going to also explain it to you here, just so that in the future, if you're curious, this is the formula for it. So the formula to get the weighted average is I'm adding up the overall plus whatever's higher, buy or sell. Because I want to have a bias, right? I either want to take a buy or I want to take a sell. I don't want to look at both because I don't want it to happen where the market comes up and then from there I'm just like I don't know which direction to take, right? I want to know exactly which direction I want to take, and if it doesn't come up, I'm not going to take it. So what I do here is I add the overall, which is going to be both buys and sells, right? So we'll just use a 702 time here as an example. So the overall average right here, it's 73.68, and then I'm going to add the higher number, right? Right here, it's 90%. So 73.68 plus 90, it's going to be 163.68. So the total edge with these two numbers is going to be 100 each, right? So you're going to divide that by 200. and it's going to be 74.13. That's going to be my overall edge there. So with that being my weighted edge, not overall, but my weighted edge. So with my weighted edge being that, um, in this situation here, it needs to be above 65 for it to be green, right? If it's below 65, it's just going to be, if it's between 60 and 65, it's going to be white because it's just a trade to look at for confluence. But in order for it to be green as a target entry, it needs to be above a 65% probability. So that's pretty much what I'm looking for. And that's how it gets on the list here. So in order for it to be my target entry, it just has to be above 65. And that's why these over here that are highlighted under the Wade section, they are listed as trade that I look to take if I had the opportunity. Yeah, no problem, Ed. Let's see. Let me scroll up real quick. Elod's asking, Sean, I know this has been asked 100 times, but can you please remind me how the breakout on open direction is determined? It's the same way that we determine everything else. A lot. Yeah, it's the same. It's just like another algo entry. So whatever the probabilities are here, the thing with this is that, so the thing is the buy or the sell works here. They both work. So, I mean, I chose a sell because it had a higher probability, but it's the same thing here, right? It doesn't matter if it was a buy or a sell. Trade would have came up. You just would have gone against momentum. So yeah. So that's why like some people will take it either direction. Like I'll call a sell, but some people will still take a buy. I'll call a buy, some people will still take it for a sell. Because whatever the probabilities show here, because you can add both up and they'll still be above 65. So they both work out, whether it is a buy or a sell. But same thing, same criteria as any of the entries there. Yeah, Alad said I'm still stuck on the old way of pivot analyzing. Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, if you like the pivots, use the pivots, right? You just got to figure out what works for you and what you like. You don't have to trade the way I'm doing. If you find another way that works for you better, then that also, I mean, that honestly, that's going to be better for you because it's easier for you to follow. Jonathan's asking, thank you, Sean, for this week. One win, one loss, and one break even for me. Hopefully next week we'll have more chances and your connection will be more stable. I really hope so. I mean, if that's, moving forward, hopefully we'll have I'll be able to transition over to StoneX. I'm gonna keep playing around StoneX to kind of just, get more of a feel for it. But hopefully by next week I can start onboarding people into StoneX because I really do like the platform. It's a lot easier, it's more straightforward. Um, and then the execution times are great. It's just easy to get in and out of the positions there, of course. So yeah, other than that, let me see if there's anything else here. Rev said one win, two losses for the week, one with a major slippage, hoping to get back to the green next week. Have a great weekend. Yeah, definitely, Rev. We'll see you back here on Monday. Um, and yeah, hopefully there's not going to be as much of a crazy. Let's check the news for next week, actually. So let's check the calendar. So next week is usually inflation week, I believe. Yeah, we have CPI next week. I don't know if this is going to get released. We got CPI on Thursday, Consumer Price Index, and then we have PPI on Thursday. CPI Thursday, PPI Friday. I mean, I don't know if this will come out, but we'll see. We got two big news events next week. Other than that, it's gonna be pretty flat. Monday is Veterans Day, guys. Huh. I don't know if markets are gonna be closed next week. Let me check real quick. Our futures markets closed November veteran. No, they're open. Yeah, yes, futures market are open on Veterans Day. They're considered business days by exchange like CME Group, while bonds market is closed. Stock options and futures will remain open. Okay, so we're going to be trading on Monday. I didn't realize it's Veterans Day. I feel like Veterans Day comes twice this year or every year. Anyways, market's open on Monday. Let's see if there's anything else here. Let's see. Ark said, Sean, it was buy momentum, but you choose to sell this morning. So confused. Yeah, it was against. So that's why we took the sell there. Like what Elad mentioned. Darren said, hey, Sean, big shout out. Been trading for 2 years. First time passing my eval today. Nice. Big congrats to you, Darren. I think there's two people who passed today, right? Arik and Darren. So great work, Darren. Yeah, Darren said he's been training for 2 years and this is his first time passing eval. Couldn't have done it without you. So blessed to have met you in the Discord. Yeah, no, definitely, dude. I'm glad that you passed and I'm super happy and excited for you. This is just the start. So, you just got a taste of it now. You just got to keep doing what you've been doing and hopefully get this, continuing for you for the next forever, I guess, basically, hopefully the consistency stays on point and you just keep killing it. Your goal now is to get those payouts, right? Now that you've passed the eval, it's now time to get those payouts. So I'm excited for you, bro. And we'll keep in check with you to see how that goes. But all right, guys, I think that's it for the day. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. I think this is it for the day. There's not really much else for us to look at. There's not much for us to take because these are all my entries for the day. I did do some testing after 8 o'clock. There's no entries after 8 o'clock, guys, because the market here stays pretty flat between 8 and 9. So I did try to look into 8 o'clock between 8 and 9. There wasn't very many opportunities there because the volatility here pretty much flattens out. You can see the ATR is back down to the 20s. It was at 40 earlier, now it's down to the 20s. So this shows you that the market has kind of slowed down a bit. A lot, actually, not a bit, but a lot. It dropped down even lower to like 23 now. So, all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Again, for this week, we are up one win on Monday, one loss on Thursday. We're up 1 hour, so I'm in profit for the week. That's all I can ask for. Green weeks back to back, hopefully for tomorrow, next week, and hopefully a green month, of course. But all right, guys, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy your weekend, take some rest, take a break, and then come back on Monday fresh to kick off the next trading week. So.